Aloha. Today I'd like to introduce our guest speaker. Introducing Auntie Anake Puni Kekauoha. Puni has been serving the Papakolea Hawaiian Homestead region since 1992. She is currently the Senior Vice President of Kula no Poe Hawaii, also known as Kula. Kula is a Native Hawaiian beneficiary serving organization that exists to promote cultural, educational, environmental, and health equity for all. Puni also serves as the community investigator on the majority of CBPR projects conducted in Papakolea. She is a strong supporter of a more inclusive and equitable research process. Through her work at Kula, they collaborate with the University of Hawaii Department of Native Hawaiian Health to provide services to the residents of Papakolea, as well as providing care to Kupuna in the context of CPPR. The involvement of the community and understanding community's point of view is extremely important. Welcome, Anake Puni.
So I have the pleasure of introducing a very special project that we are conducting right now in Papakolea and currently in Kapolei to the Kupuna and the Hawaiian homesteads of Kapolei. This project is called I Kua Na'u. It literally is, let me carry out your last wishes. It is advanced care planning for Native Hawaiian Kupuna. This project is funded by the National Institutes of Health. Okay, let me introduce my community first. I am, again, Puni Kekauoha, born and raised in Papakolea. This is my home. For many of you who are familiar, this community is a Hawaiian homestead community located in Honolulu at the base of the Ko'olau Mountains. This picture was taken from the gate to go into Punchbowl Cemetery. We are right adjacent to the National Cemetery of the Pacific. Currently, there are 427 homes in the Papakolea Homestead region with close to 2,000 Native Hawaiians who reside here. 35% of the people in this community, of the residents, are over the age of 55. And that was in 2020. Baby boomers have popped that up even higher today. This community is made up again of mainly Native Hawaiians. The community to your right looks like townhomes. This is Kalavahine Streamside. This is developed in 2000 by the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. Down on the bottom where you see this purple or blue house, this is Kevalo, about 60 homes down here. And up above what we call the bridge. So when you turn right to go into Punchbowl, come over that bridge and there's 275 homes, Hawaiian homestead residents here in Papakolea. So I have been working for this community for well over 30 years. And I'm very happy to be here today. Mahalo. I currently serve as the Senior Vice President of Kula no Poe Hawaii o Papakolea, Kevalo Kalavahine. We were founded in 1992 by Kupuna of this community. We are a Native Hawaiian beneficiary serving organization that serves to exist to promote cultural, educational, environmental, and health equity for all. And we have been doing CBPR since 2005. So it's been a minute. So what is I Kua Na'u? I Kua Na'u is a clinical trial that promotes advanced care planning among Native Hawaiian populations where we use culturally tailored videos to honor our oral histories, our culture, and genealogies. As many of you know, or some may not, about 40% of Native Hawaiians have not completed any of their documents around ACP. And we find that, we have found that alarming, especially, when we got hit with COVID. And so the funding for this project actually began at the beginning of COVID. Here are the players. This is a multidisciplinary group of individuals who are part of I Kua Na'u. The principal investigator is Dr. Margie Mau. She's not co-PI, she is PI. She is from the University of Hawaii, JAPSA, Department of Native Hawaiian Health. With her are two physicians from Massachusetts, from Boston, Dr. Michael Orlo from Boston Medical, and Angelo Volandes from Harvard University. They are the leads. Also, on the community side of this project are Ahahui Onakauka, Dr. Martina Kamaka, Queens Medical Center of Queens Medical Systems with Dr. Gerard Akaka, Dr. Adrian Dillard, our CEO at Kula, and Diane Paloma, who was at the time Lunalilo Homes ED. She is currently not in this position. She has moved to HCS. So here on this group is, like I said, Lunalilo, Queens, Native Hawaiian Health, Ahui Onakauka. Ahui Onakauka is the Association of Native Hawaiian Physicians, okay? And Tufts University is here as our counterpart on the mainland, who takes care and actually is the former recipient of the NIH grant. So this is a 5-year grant that began in 2020, and this grant ends in April of 2025. So we are currently at the tail end of the intervention or providing the workshops for our communities for Native Hawaiians. These are the specific aims of I Kua Na'u. So what we looked at is comparing ACP knowledge and readiness for engagement. So we looked at how much does our community know about advanced care planning, look at their preferences, decisional conflicts. There's conflicts and anytime you have to deal and decide on things as sensitive as ACP. And then the completion rates, actually at the end of this hour, look at completion rates in 220 Native Hawaiians over the age of 55. And these Native Hawaiians are coming from a randomized controlled trial of 110 people. These 110 have come from the ambulatory clinics. So those are the patients who are at Queens, Punch Bowl, Queens, West Oahu, and Queens in Waimea. And a lot of those facilities have Native Hawaiian Kauka. So Native Hawaiian Kauka are the people that are facilitating this intervention in their clinics. The second is us. This is a second leg is a pre-post study. Again, we're looking at 110 people that live on Hawaiian homestead communities, are located, on land set aside for Native Hawaiians or assisted living. This is where the community groups are Papakolea and Lunalilo Homes. So this is what we call the community arm. Okay, first arm is clinical, second arm is community. The protocol aim is to really look at evaluating how effective a video-based educational intervention for Native Hawaiians, how that video-based can support decision-making in the community, and how it can help to hopefully decrease disparities in serious illness and care. So in Papakolea, for us as a community, we look at pre-post. So we're evaluating our kupuna who choose and family members who choose to be part of the intervention. And it's a 5-week intervention, introductions, and we really base from the community side, we really use Ohana, right? Ohana legacy. What are you leaving for your family? When we've had conversations with kupuna in the communities, Ohana was very strongly emphasized as ensuring that it's all about Ohana. It's all about family and what you leave. What are we leaving our children and our mo'opuna? Week 2 is advanced care planning with the support of Kokua Mau, Mahalo. We utilized the starter kit that's on the website. So we utilized that toolkit to get it started. That's week 2. Week 3, we bring in Hope Young. We bring in Hope, and she really talks about the nuts and bolts of advanced care planning. So she walks through the actual document section by section, and she answers kupuna's questions, and they're done in a manner that is really, it's a 2-hour session. We try to give kupuna as much time as they need to answer questions. Week 4 is all about homestead lease transitions. For Hawaiian homestead community beneficiaries, lessees, part of ACP for me is to ensure that they're assigning successors to their homestead lease, and they're not leaving that blank or puka. That part of that process of ACP is designation and having the hardcore, many times difficult conversations with their Ohana to choose a successor for that lease. And then week 5, the very last week, partners in end of life healthcare, we bring in a kauka from Ahahui Ona Kauka. This round at Kaiser West Oahu, we have the pleasure of having Dr. Marcus Iwane. He is currently the president of Ahahui Ona Kauka, but he is also the medical director at Kaiser West Oahu. So he'll be coming in and giving our kupuna a real life perspective of what it looks like from a kauka or a doctor's perspective when Ohana have ACP completed. And unfortunately, what happens when Ohana do not have those documents in place? And the real reality, the real hard conversations about what they are as Native Hawaiian physicians, the pains they go through and what they witness and see when these decisions are not made and families are left to make those decisions, and very hard, yeah? So this is a 5-week menu that we give our kupuna to see if they want to come. All classes currently are held at Kaiser West Oahu every Tuesday for the past couple of Tuesdays from 9 in the morning to 11. It's 2 hours. We tell kupuna they don't have to come to every class. Some of them only want to come to Hope's class. Some of them only want to come to the DHHL class, yeah? So they're welcome to come to, to whatever classes they feel that they need. These are the videos. So what happened is, okay, I can tell you guys a story. So these 2 guys that are with Marjorie, they are doctors. They were in Boston. They came hola hola to Hilo, and they went to meet Native Hawaiian families in Hilo and started having conversations about advanced care planning. They had an idea of creating a research program to look at increasing the number of Native Hawaiians who, actively engaged in completing their documents, their health directives. But when they spoke to people in Hilo, it's how do you present this project so that Native Hawaiians are drawn and can grab, the importance and the relevance. So they use video. So video technology has been used in this. So at the end of every class, participants see one of these videos, okay? And they were made by these 2 guys. They brought in their cameras. Dr. Martina Kamaka offered her Ohana. Everyone knows the Kamakas from Kamaka Ukulele. They created a video to, with the kupuna and Ohana talking about, how they take care of kupuna as they have aged, and who's on first, what's on second, and how they figure this out on caregiving, and then making those wishes complete. Zelda's Lanterns is from a family in Hilo. This one is my favorite. And then Beautiful Kauai is from a family of generations of hula dancers, where Tutu uses an opportunity dancing and making Pumeria Lei in talking to 4 generations of her children about her wishes and, that conversation. And then Auntie Lynette Paglina one does, and hers is on week 5. She has a video on grief and healing. When she lost, everyone knows Uncle Likeke, Richard Paglina one, Auntie wanted to do a video on what she's experienced in grief, healing, and how she's, processing all of that. So these are the videos that we use in I Kua Na'u. In May of 2024, I Kua Na'u was given the opportunity and invited to attend this conference in Boston, where we presented a poster. These were all the steps and methods, introductions, and everything that went with a research project. This lady here, her name is Liana Honda. She's from Queens Health Systems in Kamuela, the Big Island. And then Lisa Henault is she's a mover. She's a shaker and a mover behind the PIs from Boston that gets us all moving and making sure we're all on task. And we're about to finish. Papa Kolea's number was 55. Our magic number to hit was 55. We're at 35. we have until the end of February to hit the 55. And then we go into evaluation and the reporting portion. And this project is POW at the end of April. And in no way or means or fashion is this curriculum done. We are purposed to continue to take I Kua Na'u out to our communities in Hawaii. We hope to take this out to Waimanalo. We are planning to take it out to Waimanalo and the neighbor islands. And that's our plans. These are pictures of the ladies in Boston. And as a result of that presentation and poster that they presented, we were awarded from the Society of General Internal Medicine. Liana was awarded the Geriatrics Best Poster Presentation Award at that conference. So we're very proud of what they were able to accomplish. And what we've all been able, what we've learned with I Kua Na'u is that while the project is meant to target Kupuna, Native Hawaiian, over the age of 55, we realized early on that it's really for everybody over the age of 18. Yeah, we've lost so many family members, as a result of COVID. And then even lately, a lot of our younger adults are passing away far too soon. And this is important. One of the key takeaways that Kupuna have provided in evaluation, because we do pre and post, Kupuna are telling us on the back end, they would like I Kua Na'u to go out to families. So rather than they go home and have what we call the kitchen table conversation, that we bring this to the kitchen table. We're still working that out, but they feel that this program is a family, it's a family conversation to bring it out. So that is the strongest mana'o we've gotten from our kupuna. And then this is not only for 55 and over. This is definitely for 18 and over. Everybody needs to get this done. And I think that's it. We are almost POW. We're nearing our numbers. And I think that's it. Mahalo. Anybody got any questions? I can answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie Puni. That was great. This is Jeanette, because of course I have questions.
Sure.
So I'm so glad that I've been wanting to know more about this. So really interested in when we can see the videos. Are there plans to use those in different settings, or what's the plan with that?
The videos right now are under the project. It's literally, I don't want to say couple, but it's reserved under I Kua Na'u for the sake of the research project. So until that project is POW, formally done, then we will have the conversation before it's POW. But for now, we are not able to take those videos out to the general public other than within the context of the curriculum of the intervention. Yeah.
Right.
But we're going to hold more classes. Anyone's welcome to come. It's primarily for Native Hawaiians, but we've had people from Eva, Ko'olaloa. People have heard about it and they've jumped on. So, you can see it through there, or I'll let you folks know whenever we come available. But they're very moving. They're beautifully made, and they're short. They're not very long, but they do it. They do the work that it needs to do. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing all of this. I have a side note for you. So Liana Handa was my kumu when I went to high school at Kamehameha. She taught Olelo Hawaii to me. So,
Love her.
Small world, right?
Yeah. Always.
Anybody else have questions? How do you publicize this?
Huh?
How do you publicize it? How do you put the word out for these events?
We just send out mailers and flyers, from Kula. It's in the UH Press News. UH News has had it on when we first got the grant. The Facebook page on it. Yeah, no, it's gone out to Ahui. So, it's not a big blast. One thing we do want to make sure when we do these classes is that they remain small. The class you see at Kapolei is the biggest size class, right, we've ever had. And it's purposeful. The conversations are such that they cannot be large classes, and they cannot be virtual. I think this conversation is for Native Hawaiians, virtual won't work. We need to be in a room, and we need to, exchange. Yeah, we need to have presence and allow people that space. Yeah.
Right.
So I don't want to be the only one asking questions, but
Two people raised their hands.
so maybe I'll just follow up. Auntie Puni, you are in touch with Hope. If there's any way we can help, we have a newsletter that goes out to that 1,000 people open, which I find shocking. It's so our whole thing is about conversations, getting the conversations going. So that reaches all kinds of people. So we're happy to help spread the word. And yeah, in any way we can. And I'm so glad that Hope is part of the team. And when you guys are Paul and have things to share, we'd love to have that as well. So think of us as a partner. We're very happy
Yes.
to help with that, Auntie Puni.
Oh, thank you so much. No, Kokua Mau has been an amazing partner.
Jennifer?
I do have a question. So as I'm thinking about going out into the community more on West Hawaii to talk about advanced care planning, it struck me one day, would this be offensive into the Native Hawaiian community? So I'm getting from this presentation, thank you so much, Auntie Puni, that it wouldn't be offensive, but what would you advise me, if you could, of how to be sensitive and as respectful as possible in offering advanced care planning and the understanding of why it's important? Did that make sense?
Yeah, no, what was most important to us was to have the conversations with Kupuna prior to starting. So in the first 2 years, or first year, we went out into the Hawaiian community and had these community conversations around advanced care planning and what people's understanding of what this was. And the idea, presented the idea of bringing out an advanced care planning workshop. And if we did, and we didn't say we were, we said, if we did, and we had your permission to do this, what would be important to you? And what would not be good for you? And they freely shared what would be offensive, and we definitely took it to heart. We walked, we listened to Kupuna, and we documented all their mana'o. It was extremely eye-opening for people from the community. Those of us in Papakolea and at Lunadilla Homes, we learned a lot from the Kupuna at Lunadilla Homes. And that one was a little harder than we had expected. That's all I can say. That conversation and that, conducting this at Lunadilla Homes was not as easy as some had thought. So I think being first asking Kupuna, and if you're in West Hawaii, I'll definitely go and look for Liana and ask her, for her mana'o. She's very well versed in I Kua Na'u and can help you in that area. But definitely always speak to your audience before you go out, and make them well aware of what you'd like to do. Yeah.
Mahalo. That was really, really beautiful. It is really, really beautiful. It really touched me. Thank you.
Kalamai Anake, can you stop sharing your screen?
Oh, okay, yeah. Stop share.
Mahalo. Mia.
Thank you, Hope. Thank you, Auntie Puni. That was wonderful. I'm Mia Taylor. I'm with Queens Health Systems. Really, I'm so glad to get a deeper dive into this project. I've heard about it peripherally from Dr. Akaka and Leanna. My question is, it's related, but it's not directly involving this project. I just wanted your input. We've had some requests, and I think Jeanette knows this as well, for post documents to be in Olelo, Hawaii. And I wanted your mana'o on that. What are your thoughts to have that translated? We have PULSE documents translated, in advanced healthcare directive documents translated in a lot of our common languages. Do you think that would be helpful?
Yes. Yes. I think it would be extremely helpful. Whatever we need to do to get people to complete that form. And if it needs to be in Olelo, Hawaii, then so be. Yeah. I think the challenge would be, and I don't know how you folks do it right now in language, is when the EMTs hit the house and catch that form, that the EMTs, I don't know what your protocol is, once they see it in another language, that they can understand it quickly.
Mm-hmm.
They're able to, whether there's translation on the form or, how does that work?
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely support, if the community is asking for a post in Olelo, Hawaii, then yeah, give them a post in Olelo, Hawaii.
Yeah. So, and thank you very much for sharing that. How we handle that is we really use that document alongside an English document. So we use that as we're educating for them to be able to read it in the language that they're most comfortable with. And then also our team, and I'm speaking for our team, I'd love to hear what others do, but when we have translators, and most commonly, right, for Native Hawaiians, they speak English for the majority, right? So we don't necessarily have a translator, but for some of our other languages where we have a translator, whether it's a Marty system or an in-person translator, I, as a provider, am still trusting that translator is translating it verbatim the way I'm saying it, right? So if I can give them documents that they can read in their preferred language at the same time that I'm speaking and a translator is translating for me, that just gives me that added layer of security, if you will, that they're really able to understand what my points are that I'm trying to get across. And I think, and Jeanette, you probably know a lot more about this than I do as to, why we chose to translate into other languages versus Olelo, Hawaii. And I think my guess is, right, that it's because most Native Hawaiians do also speak English, but I'll let you kind of give the historical context there, but very much appreciate your input.
Yeah, and thank you for that question, Mia, because so two things. So first of all, just so everyone knows, the post form, the signature line in Korean and Samoan and Tagalog is blacked out. So you can't complete a post in a foreign language because EMS has to have 10 seconds to read it and honor it. So as Mia was saying, what we do is you use that and then the materials and all of that to make sure that people understand them. But at the end of the day, the post is going to be in English for them to understand. So there's good news and bad news. The good news is that we actually have been working with Papa'olokahi to do those translations. I'm looking at Hope because I think the bad news is at the moment the translators are MIA. They said they had done it, they'd worked on it, it was good. So Hope, you want to give us an update on that? Maybe Auntie Puni knows them.
Well, okay, so I have a follow-up question to Mia's question. So do you think there's a preference or which one we should aim towards? Olelo Ni'ihau or Olelo Hawaii that's used in general, because there is dialect differences, and you think that there's one that would be more useful over
No, I'm not qualified to answer that. That would be an anti-Puni
that.
question.
That actually was an anti-Puni question.
Oh, I thought you said me. I was gonna say, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was like, whoa, outside my scope.
Extremely
Dutch girl
hot.
from Michigan.
I mean, if you're talking to a Hawaiian on Oahu, it's Olelo Hawaii,
Right.
right? But if you're talking to somebody in Kauai,
It's gonna.
I mean, that's ni hao.
That's-
So
so
you're gonna
what do
write
you?
that, but for the majority of us, it would be Olelo Hawaii,
Okay.
right?
Okay. I mean, that's another thing that we should have a conversation about, I think. Because we were looking at, the Olelo Ni'ihau as far as who would possibly need it more. Because the majority of the Hawaiian language speakers in general speak English. So that's been one of the considerations that we've had to think about when doing a translation. But now hearing this conversation, maybe we have to consider opting for the Olelo Hawaii version.
Has
Yeah.
anybody talked to KVMH because they get a lot of the Ni'ihau population as well to determine whether it's like actually needed, because that's where when they get medevac, that's usually where they go to.
Good thought. Who are you working with, Hope?
Oh, I don't want to out them because they
Oh,
went
that's
MIA.
true. Never mind. Everybody's doing everything they're supposed to be doing. Yes.
And Hope, I mean, you could do a Ni'ihau version because the west side of Kauai, that's on Ni'ihau.
Right.
So, if KVMH can have a Ni'ihau version, at least we respect and acknowledge Ni'ihau, right?
Yeah.
And it's there, right? So you're not excluding, but
Right.
for the broader community, it would be Olelo Hawaii, but it would be safe to do a Ni'ihau version and target it toward our Ohana in West Kauai.
And I
Because there's not a Ni'ihau in the West Kauai.
yeah, I want to say I worked at Wilcox Medical Center for a while, and it was really amazing to me to have all of these Ni'ihauans come in speaking, Ni'ihauan or Hawaiian with the Ni'ihau, and it was so having lived and having been I've been here since 95. It's at least it just was shocking and wonderful to hear this as the primary first language. And so I would hope that there might be a possibility to do 2 translations, because I know from my experience as the chaplain there that would be useful for the Ni'ihauans, and to have somebody go out and to touch base with that West Side community and talk with them about doing this and put it into Ni'ihauan Hawaiian, that would be really powerful, I think.
Okay, Hope is on it. How may I ask? How different is the Ni'ihau and the
Oh,
Olelo
it's
Hawaii?
different.
So we
It's
kind of need
very-
two.
It's different. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
also-
from Kauai.
in Ni'ihau, the K's are replaced with T's.
Yeah.
And there's
And it's a
there's
whole different, beautiful
Yeah.
dialect.
Oh,
It's
wonderful.
absolutely beautiful.
It was one
So-
of the first things that I realized when I moved to Oahu, because I grew up in Waimea on Kauai, and where I went to school with, kids that were coming over from Ni'ihau just for school and then going back during breaks, during summer, during winter. And when I moved here, I was like, it sounds different. Like, why does it? So, I mean, there is a very clear that even a teenager can stop and go, wait, why is this different?
Interesting.
Cool.
So I have another interesting, just cultural question that, so for the Native Hawaiians who speak Ni'ihau dialect, do they also speak Olelo Hawaii? Like if they go, do they learn? So for example, I'll use this example. In the Netherlands, I come from a part of the Netherlands. I have a very strong dialect. Like it doesn't sound anything like the formal Dutch language, but in school we learned formal Dutch. So everybody learned formal Dutch, but then everybody at home spoke their dialect. Is that similar in Hawaiian or no?
I don't know.
Like you guys don't understand, like for those of you that are fluent in Olelo Hawaiian, the Nihihau dialect is very different. Yeah. You don't know.
Yeah, I think Niihauan will stick to Niihauan.
Okay.
I don't,
Okay.
yeah, I don't
It's
think
almost like being
they
bilingual
could, but
or
I don't think they will.
trilingual, where most of the people
Okay.
that I know, either if they were in like a position that they needed to know Olelo Hawaii and also know Niihauan, then it was, and usually they also knew English, and so they'd know 3 languages. But
Okay.
most of the people that I know from Niihau did not speak Olelo Hawaii. They only spoke Niihauan.
Okay. Wow. Well, thank you.
Jeanette has her hand up.
Yeah, so stay tuned about the language because we really want to do that as well. We think that's really important. You know, I wanted to follow up also on what Anita had put in the chat, which was, you know, we are of course interested in barriers that you guys have identified and then overcome to get these conversations going. So I appreciate you're in a study and you also don't want to, you know, talk stink about anybody, but what can you advise people, or what have you learned that works or that, you know, doesn't work? You had mentioned show up ahead of time, or like talk to everybody ahead of time, which makes total sense.
Yeah. It definitely, if you have any intent of going into a community to do any kind of workshop, I mean, no matter if it's ACP or what it is, you wanna have that initial conversation, either with Kupuna, or if you're serving children, parents, or even the kids themselves, right? You wanna introduce yourself, because really, you know, for us on a community level, it's about building trust. So if you you can't come in cold, and you know, I think you have to have some kind of connection to that community or people, or you're coming with somebody that they trust, that knows them, right? So you formed a relationship with someone that's from West Kauai, right? That's from a Hawaiian homestead. And then that way, you know, it's a little easier to start that conversation. Yeah, always, yeah.
And I thought it was great how you fit the land in, because that's something I know that we've talked to people over the years. I still remember one session that we did with Alulike, and there was this guy who stood up, tears in his eyes. It's my kuleana to take care of this land. And I realized that because I was afraid of talking about this, my family could lose it. And then we had these fabulous conversations about it. So you're finding that is a really important piece?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. And you know, for us, Papakolea just made 90 years old as part of the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act this year. And so we're celebrating 90 years, but even in that, to re-educate everybody on the history of the acquisition of this 177 acres of land in a federal land trust, it's really turned a lot of people, you know, turned them up, because most of them didn't know the history. And so understanding value of land and the importance of their legacy, you know, right now, Hawaiians, Native Hawaiians who are homestead lessees, you come in with a 99-year lease. In 1999, there was an additional 100 years added on. So we currently have 199 years. A lot of people don't know that up here. They don't know that you have an extended 100 years. So when we talk about legacy, if they kept the 99 years, my grandchildren would have any place to live in 9 years. I mean, that's like tomorrow, 9 years. So back in the 90s, when I first became a homestead officer, we fought hard to have that amendment added to the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, the extension of your lease. So even more so, when we talk about love of the land and leaving legacy, for those of us who live in the older Hawaiian homestead communities, it is extremely important for today's lessees to understand the importance and the legacy you leave. in what we call lease transitions.
Mm.
Yeah, whether it's transferring your lease to someone, you know, everybody knows you can't sell a lease, you can transfer a lease for money. We don't like it in public land, but they do it. And then you can transfer it to your children or grandchildren, yeah, as long as they meet the blood requirements. But do something, because what we're seeing is people are not doing it and everybody's losing. So that's part of I Kua Na'u. That's part of it. To me, that's part of advanced care planning.
Right.
For Hawaiian homesteader, that's advanced care planning. So next week, the HHL is coming in to I Kua Na'u to speak on homestead lease transitions. Yeah.
Yeah, again, that seems like a really important part of to get people to come in. Are you finding that the whole Ohana will come? Well, can you get the 18-year-olds and the 65-year-olds? And
Okay, I got to tell you a story. So Kokua Mau has a card game called Go Wish, the Go Wish cards. The Go Wish cards have started this, I want to say an explosion. So what has happened is Kupuna are talking to me that, hey, you guys got to come out and do this to my family. And I'm saying, Kupuna, when you identify an advanced health directive, your person, yeah, go home and because we give them their deck and then a second deck. Go home and play the game with your assigned person, with your agent. Have them do the game, right? Very important, most important, very important, somewhat important, not important at all. Have them do it and you do it. And then the both of you prioritize that pack. And then you do what's important to you. And then watch her face. And then she'll do her most important for you. And it's like open eyes. People are having these really rich conversations with their own agent. And then I found out I did it with my Opuna. So I did it with my grandson, who's a senior this year. And it was a good way for him to get to know what Puna wants when it's my time, to make sure that his mom and dad follow what I said over here. And then it gives him the time to think about, as an 18-year-old, what is this all about and how do I think this out, right? So even for him, it took him harder to do his deck. It took him a lot longer because he doesn't have the lifespan, right? So no, the Go Wish cards for us has opened up because I tell Kupuna to go home and play it, one with their agent and one with one Mo'opuna. And if the Mo'opuna can be either out of high school or just about out of high school, but pick the Mo'opuna that's an adult, young adult, and then watch the reaction of the person and the Mo'opuna and see how that goes. So yeah, they're coming back to me like, oh, that was rich. I was like, yeah. So my grandson promised me he's gonna follow my very important. So you gotta promise.
oh, that makes my month. I am so glad, Auntie Puni. That's fabulous.
Yeah. And the Go Wish cards is amazing. I really want to thank you for the cards.
Good. Yeah. If I had money, I would buy them for everybody.
Megan orders them up.
One other thing you had mentioned, you're at 33 and you need 35. Like, who do you need? Can we help you find people?
Yeah. So my magic number is 55.
55. Okay.
Yeah. So we've done.
So who are those people?
We're at 30, 35, almost 35.
Uh-huh.
So I'll definitely send you our next flyer to get, because we're going to need to get that number quick. And again, I Kua Na'u is targeted toward Native Hawaiian Kupuna age 55 and older.
Mm-hmm.
We welcome their caregivers. We welcome their children. A lot of Kupuna come with their daughter or their son, spouse, and that's fine. But for purposes of this particular study, it's 55 and older.
And they are the ones who have to participate in the 5 parts, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And so they receive that. The workshop is 5 weeks. The intervention is 5 weeks. Yeah.
Got it.
Mary Elizabeth?
I had wanted to know if you guys are looking at expanding. I know you said already you're doing Kapolei, but are you looking at expanding out to either Waimanalo to the homesteads or up to Waianae to the homesteads?
Yeah, so we've already spoken to Waimanawa Hawaiian Homestead Association. We gave them a choice because we have another intervention that we're doing for caregiver training. And we actually just had a meeting in Waimanawa last week. They've opted to choose caregiver training first before I Kua Na'u, because their caregivers are really hurting all over. Yeah, caregivers caring for kupuna with Alzheimer's and age-related dementia is a huge problem. So we conduct another program called Oamo Kekuleana for caregivers. So Waimanawa is going to get the caregivers training, and then we're going to do I Kua Na'u. So I Kua Na'u is probably going to go out to Waimanawa sometime spring 25, around there, for I Kua Na'u. But yeah, caregivers are going to go out. The caregiver training is going to go out first. Yeah. But yeah, and then Molokai is calling for it. So yeah, we've been, all of the homesteads have been informed about what we've got going on. So yeah, Neighbor Island's hard. And like I said, we cannot do virtual. So we would need to find more resources to travel to get to the Neighbor Islands to conduct this. So yeah.
Cool. Hope maybe you can go to Molokai with them.
Hey, let's go.
Let's go.
Hey, let's go. Can you tell us a little bit about the caregiver training? Because that's, of course, in our world, so important.
So Kula has I have a staff of 23. I have about
23. Oh,
yeah,
sorry. I should put myself on mute while I.
a staff of 23.
Wow.
90% of them are from Papakolea, and about 9 of them are community health workers. So in 2021, all of us community health workers took the Savvy Caregiver training, online training. So I have 9, is it 9 or 7 today, who are Savvy trained and certified. What we found with Savvy was that it's a great curriculum. You know, we're very good friends with Dr. Kenneth Hepburn. Savvy's been conducted by Kokua Mau, and Hoki'i Balas has been key in getting this training out. But we found that in Papakolea, we needed to change that curriculum to better suit the Native Hawaiian community. So we adapted it. And today it's called Oamo Kekuleana Onama'i Pu'ina, which means caring for the responsibilities of your kupuna with memory loss. Yeah, with no memory. Ma'i Pu'ina ole means they cannot remember. And so the caregiver training program, that one is 6 weeks long. It's facilitated by one of my CHWs, Mahialani Austin. That one's hot. So I mean, that one's on, that one's cut on. So Waimanalo is the next community. I'm coming out to Waimanalo with that one. And then Molokai. So when we look at communities who are in need of caregiver training in a Native Hawaiian community, Kauai is screaming for help. Hana is screaming for help. All of us. And so I'm going out to Ha'ula, Punalu'u, up to Kahuku in 2 weeks to introduce the caregiver training to our people on that side, on the east side. And I know they want it. In Laie, the amount of kupuna that are wandering is just scary. So yeah, that's the other training we got going on. So we can talk about that later, and I can send you guys more information on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love it.
Yeah.
And the question for us, of course, is that, is there any way to put ACP in there? Because people often don't realize that as the caregiver, hey, advanced directive, you got to do this now. But now you know about the cards, so you can use all those things too.
We do end up, it's really, really, I mean, it's just organic, right? You're going to end up, when you talk about caregiving and kupuna who are in hospice or palliative care, you naturally can come across a conversation of, to the caregiver, okay, do you have mommy's post? Do you have mommy's, advanced care directive? Right? I mean, that's automatic. For us, it's become part of conversation.
I love it.
So it's like one and the same when you're in community. It's like, we cannot not talk about that because
So I'm so glad.
no, we realized that a while ago that it can't stand alone.
Because one of the things we do when we hear from like fire or first responders, that if the family doesn't know what post is, then they get really defensive and they, they don't understand. So that's really something we need, that people understand what post is, because sometimes providers aren't taking the time to explain it. And then it's understandable if families like, wait, what? You're not doing everything. And so I'm really glad you can help with that too.
I have a Kupuna program that's been running since 2017, but the Kupuna Community Care Network. I have 330 Kupuna.
Wow.
So there I had classes in post. So all the Kupuna and Papakolea know. I need to know where the green sheet is. Like, where is it?
I love it. Okay.
So we've done post training. I'm a big proponent of making sure that's in the house. And post is important.
Good. So just so you know, Anna from Hospice Maui said that they would love to help in any way because they also serve Hana and Molokai.
We're coming to Hana. Yeah, let's talk. Yeah.
Okay, so that's Anna Hill from Hospice Maui. Hospice can connect you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we got to get Kupuna and Hana have asked to come out there to do the conversation we had in Maui a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, great.
Yeah, however we can connect, I would love that.
Okay.
Support, yeah.
Yeah, I was working with Kawi at the Native Hawaiian healthcare system in Maui with Malia Purdy and Kawi.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I think Leslie is trying to say something.
Oh.
I see her unmuting and muting.
Yes, as part of the Palliative Action Committee, I wanted to ask, is there a specific word in Olelo for palliative?
Yeah.
Versus, because we talk about palliative and hospice being, it's very different, but it gets confused even in the English language. I was wondering, when you're meeting out there with the Hawaiian community, is there a different word for palliative care in Olelo?
I'm sure there is. I don't know what that word is myself, but I'm sure there is.
Right. I was just interested to know.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
Yeah, I think you guys are too close together.
I know.
So one of the projects that I mentioned before that I think we're at this really interesting place is that, and because we've just completed this with the Samoans, they were like, we don't have a word for that. And what's the point of just saying CPR or palliative or whatever? We need to be explaining it. And we actually have this problem in English. We say CPR and people don't know what that is. They just say CPR and they say palliative care and, oh yeah, palliative care, but they don't know either. So I think we're at this good place where we could start discussing, to get more. And I think it's actually creating words and creating ways of explaining things. And we heard that when a number of the translators were working on it, it's like, we don't have this word in Ilocano, and it's not going to help to just, use CPR. We have to describe this for people. So I think we're at this really great place where we're making words, where we're helping to create that. And I realize there's people in Hawaiian that do that. And so it's very exciting.
Yeah.
Especially but we can also just say the green paper in Hawaiian. So there we go.
There you go. The bright green paper.
The bright green paper. Okay. I love it. So I'm just looking if there's any more questions. Hope, did you see any more questions?
No.
Kaylee, were you trying to say something?
Oh, no, I was in total agreement with
Okay, good. You can try and get your family to come to these.
Yeah, no, I actually have two kupuna that probably should be in this entity. So
there you go.
Our first class, I had one guy who had his advanced healthcare directive done. He just didn't know how to talk to his kids.
Yeah.
You remember that one, Hope?
Yep.
Brother was just like beside himself. He was not comfortable starting a conversation.
Yeah.
So we were like, whoa, this is interesting. Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
he knew what he wanted.
Oh yeah.
You know, I come back so often that that somebody to help, a facility, you know, whether it's the social worker or the friend or the somebody else can really help. And, you know, I see that in my own family. Boy, it's not so easy to do, but you can have somebody else. You have Hope come in or somebody else, and we play cards and we do this and we normalize it, and then everybody's better off. So
Yeah.
it's I think you should never underestimate having another person. And again, it makes it easier. I actually used the cards for the first time to get my dad to start talking. Oh, that was not easy. But fortunately he liked them and the tactile and so that made it easier. But I sure didn't know how to start that, and I do this all day long. So
Yeah, it's different.
Great.
Exactly.
Well, Auntie Puni, thank you so much for sharing with us. This was fabulous. Very inspiring. And you know, I know you're in touch with Hope, and you can, you know, let us know where you can help publicize the talks. We can help recruit family members and friends to come. But also anything else that we can do to help. And I'm so glad that you see Kokua Mau as a partner, and that will continue.
Yeah, most definitely. Definitely. Thank
No,
you for
I love
everything. Thank you for all your help. Love the website.
Mahalo.
And everybody.
Thank you.
Hello. Yes.
Thank you, people.
Great.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Awesome job. Mahalo.
Okay, thanks so much. All right, everybody. Thanks.
Have a good afternoon, everyone.